Hi there, it's Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com here with the Rogue Master Brewer Top 8. We finally got around to doing that from August. We're calling this the Summer Rogue Master Brewer with the open format, and we've narrowed it down to Top 8. Now, we aren't going to do brackets like we usually do. We're just going to try to get this done before Battle for Zendikar and all the spoilers and all the, all that kind of shenanigans. Very busy with a ton of videos right now. So I'd just like to give a big shout out to everyone that entered into this contest. These are the contests, the at least top 8. We will give out a playmat of your choice for the winner of this month's Rogue Master Brewer. And then next month's Rogue Master Brewer we will announce as soon as possible. Might be Valken Tribal or it might be a special edition. I'm not going to give out the secret to what we're going to do here. It's going to be a lot different. It might not even involve brewing a deck. So anywho, let's just look over these. If you want to vote, this is how you do so. And I highly suggest you do vote. These people put in a lot of effort into these decks. So the first one is a Metapod deck by Nate Slover. This is going to use Evolutionary Leap. I love the name that he put here. And Hardened Scales. And then just your typical affinity build, but you're going to use the modular cards. I really like this idea because your guys can go crazy with Hardened Scales. Evolutionary Leap is going to be able to kill off your modular cards quite easily. And Arcbound Ravager is going to be another sack outlet for your modular cards. And then there's cards like Steel Overseer in this deck that are very powerful with Hardened Scales. So it's just a very, very flavorful brew. Then just the regular good old affinity type strategy. We have Springleaf Drum, Mox Opal, Cranial Plating, Ink Moth, Blink Moth, yada, yada, yada. But man, this is going to be crazy with even Ink Moth, like activating Ink Moth, activating the Steel Overseer, giving 2 counters to Ink Moth. Seems pretty good to me. Next one is a Breath of Fury combo by Jade Schaefer. This one caught my eye because it's really cool. This card I've never even really... I remember it from Ravnica, but I never really played with it. It says whenever enchanted creature deals combat damage, sacrifice it and attach Breath of Fury to another creature you control. Untap those creatures, they get an additional. So you're going to use cards like Goblin Rabble Master, puts in a hasty Goblin. Unfortunately, you can't use it right then and there. But if you attach to another creature and then you attack with the Rabble Master and everything and you put the 1/1 into play, then you can attach afterwards to the Rabble Master token, attack again, and it's infinite attacks. Same thing with Bramaz. If you have another creature out in play, you attack Bramaz, it puts his White Soldier creature token, tapped and attacking, and then you can attach the Breath of Fury onto the other creatures and just continue to do that. Unfortunately, some of these creatures don't have haste. So I think that this deck would actually want to run more Goblin Rabble Masters because you don't want to be sacking one of your token producers unless there's ways to give it haste. So I think that this deck might want a way to give all creatures haste. And that way you can go infinite with all the token producing. Because otherwise, Breath of Fury, it does give that extra attack phase, but then none of your tokens have haste, and you just have to continue to kill off your creatures. So yeah, more Rabble Masters this deck would be my suggestion. But Hero Bladehold, Odrix kind of seems out of place. This would be the one that I would throw more Rabble Masters in here. But Precinct Captain, Rabble Master, and Bramaz seem very good to generate those creatures. I'm sure like even Young Pyromancer might not be too shabby with 16 instances of sorceries, but I thought this was a really cool idea, at least with Breath of Fury and cards that generate more tokens to attack with. So big shout out here. Then we have Walker Tezzeret Ranger. Love the name. It's going to be another affinity. We had a bunch of affinity shells, and these were the 2 that we ended up kind of narrowing down. This one's going to be using Tezzeret Agent of Bolus, and it's got a combo here, like I like to call this Artificer's Intuition toolbox. This is what really caught my eye. I've never even looked at this card before. Discard an artifact card from your hand, search your library for an artifact card if you convert mana cost 1 or less. So you can go get so many different cards, especially from your sideboard. Cards like the Needle or Relic of Progenitus, or an Engineered Explosives. There's 2 more in the main board because these are converted mana cost 0. So is the Chalice and a Welding Jar, or not quite a Torpor, but I'm sure there's a few other 1-drops. Like, I think this deck might want a Nihil Spellbomb in the sideboard. That's a 1-drop. The Urn can gain you life equal number of charge counters on it. It's a way that you can put in a life gain versus the red decks. There are so many 1-drops in Standard. You could even go into creatures, like you could go into toolbox creatures that cost 1 or less and throw them in. It can go get more Mox Opals. We haven't even scratched the surface of like the 0-drops that it can hit. But it's just one of these decks that you can just go get the answer to particularly shut down your opponent. And then the win condition is just Tezzeret. So you're going to +1 Tezzeret and then -4 Tezzeret. Or you can make like an Inkmoth Nexus into a 5/5, and it's an artifact creature with Infect, and then just beat them down that way. So I'm loving this, just the toolbox control with Tezzeret being the finisher. I think it's a great design. And this one was by Mark Griffith. All right, Mrs. End by Boros. It didn't give us his name here, but this one is just a Maze's End in Modern, and I thought that, I don't know why no one's actually tried this. It seems pretty good with the Amulet of Vigor making them come into play untapped, and then cards like Explore and Sylvan Scrying and Expedition Map to find the particular one you want. I think that maybe you do want some Summer Bloom in this type strategy just to ramp out a lot of Guild Gates right off the bat. Not quite sure, though. I think you'd have to have some more card draw, but just getting those out as quick as possible and then Maze's Ending for the win. There's so many ways to find your Maze's End. I don't even know if you need 4 of them in this deck with Explorers and Expedition Maps and Sylvan Scryings, but I mean, it's Maze's End itself can go tutor up more of the Guild Gates, and then it's just like a fog type ability with Maze's End. Are very, very vulnerable to any sort of combo-based deck that doesn't deal damage, but this deck actually does a very good job of dodging Ugin, does a very good job of, not really Karn though. Karn was going to be rough with like the decks the Tron decks utilize Karn as a win condition, but I'm sure that in the sideboard, yeah, he's got the needles for the Karn. They can shut down the Karns, and you could probably put in even more cards that can just completely, like I thought about Slaughter Games in this type of deck, or Leyline of Sanctity would be good at least to protect yourself, but then Karn can get rid of it and whatnot. But this is a pretty sweet build, especially against aggro-based decks. You can just fog out until the Maze's End wins. Thought it was just cool because I haven't really seen a Maze's End in Modern. This one's called Mardu Giggles. I thought it was pretty sweet. Utilizing the Pyromancer's Goggles, which says add red your mana pool whenever it's spent to cast a red instant sorcery spell. You may choose a new target for it. It's got a lot of the cycling through cards and like Exquisite Firecraft, Anger of Gods to help you get there. Got a Seeker of the Way, Dragonlord Kolgan, Soulfire Grandmaster. Just a nice little value-based deck with the Pyromancer's Goggles. And just copying a Crackling Doom or a Kolgan's Command. I don't know if I've seen a Mardu shell with Pyromancer's Goggles. I think it's perfect with Crackling Doom and Command. I'd actually like to see more commands in here in this particular deck, but it definitely caught my eye, just the Mardu plus the Goggles. None of this except the Temples and a few of the cards like Anger of Gods and Magma Jet and Lightning Strike, but I think we'll have some replacements. The main of this deck survives post-rotation. Now we have Narset of the Crescent Mood by Victor Kazuo. I hope you didn't murder your name. This is just going to be it's called All of the Turns, or I like to call it U-Turns, is my particular one. So what you do is use cards like Boomerang and Giga Drowse and Early Frost type cards to bounce back your opponent's spells or your opponent's lands and just keep them back a turn. And then you win the deck basically by taking extra turns. So using Howling Mind to keep your own land count and spell count up. They can draw as many cards as they want as long as you're keeping their lands tapped down. But what really caught my eye here is Narset. And it is Narset. I think this is a perfect spot for Narset, because Narset gives everything rebound. And if you can start rebounding Boomerangs and Giga Drowses and Early Frosts, things like that, then you can effectively lock them out and then take extra turns, and then basically do a +1 and find more stuff, and then eventually just have Narset be your win condition. I think that you might want another win condition in here besides Narset, like maybe one of Tameo, but I thought it was a pretty cool idea for trying to utilize Narset in Modern. Then we have Death Becomes Them by Mint King. And this is the sweet card because I really want to have like a mono black sacrifice deck in Modern. And this one uses Liliana and cards that can sacrifice themselves like Death Cultus. So you're basically going to guarantee that Liliana gets flipped over. And then Mortician Beetle is also very powerful in this deck because you can drop it on turn 1 and then just start sacrificing your like Bile Urchins and Death Cultus and anything to Viscera, and then get this Mortician Beetle up very, very huge, and Reassembly Skeleton can keep coming back, and that's your win condition with Liliana kind of playing the control route. Tragic Slip. Call of the Netherworld can get back by discarding through Liliana. You can discard Call of the Netherworld to get back a card. And then Quest for the Graveyard says whenever a creature's put in the graveyard from the battlefield, you may put a quest counter on it, and then you can remove 3 quest counters and get a 5/5 black zombie. So that can get out very quickly as well. Turn 2, turn 3. The quest for the, well, probably turn 3 Quest for the Graveyard. They can have a 5/5 out on the battlefield. So pretty neat idea. I think that there's another card I'm going to do a video called Top 5 or Top 10 cards I want from Legacy reprinted in Modern. And one of those is Blood Pet, which is a Wild Cantor for black. It's one and it's just one black, put a 1/1 Blood Pet into play, and then you can sacrifice to add a black. Really want another Wild Cantor type effect in Standard. We do get some other cool cards from the Zendikar block that I think would go in a good sacrifice deck. Then we have Tainted Healing by Tyler Roundy. Tyler actually plays at my local game store. He's played this deck quite a bit. I told him he better submit it because it was so much fun watching him and play this deck. So he's running Tainted Remedy be his kill condition, and his other alternate kill condition can be like a Johnny's Primates or just the Blood Cursed Knight getting big enough. So the cool thing about this type deck is Tainted Remedy is going to make it so when your opponent gains life, they lose that much life. He uses cards like Last Breath. You can exile your opponent's creature, and then they lose 4 life if you have a Tainted Remedy out. You can give their creatures lifelink with Cruel Feeding and Butcher's Glee, and Congregate against any sort of token-based strategy can just win the game, or just stall. He stalls out until he finds the Tainted Remedy, and then usually finds a way to kill them with Tainted Remedy. So Raise the Alarm is just another way to stall out, and Johnny's Primate Blood Cursed Knight can also be aggressive. Hopeful Eidolon can actually bestow on your opponent's creature and then give them lifelink, which is a bad news if you have Tainted Remedy out. Healing Hands is a really cool card because it effectively says target player loses 4 life and you draw a card, or again, you're just stalling the deck out till you get it. In his sideboard, he's got some other ways to stall out the board, or if it's against a deck where Johnny's Primate is and Blood Cursed Knight are good against, you can bring them in for added aggression. And that's that. So we have a nice little, a lot of differing decks. I was very happy with the submissions. So go and give this a vote. Again, the person that gets the most votes will get a playmat from roguedeckbuilder.com. So any one of these playmats. I highly encourage, if you like the channel, this is the best way to support the channel, is to come over here and purchase a playmat. So we do have this new Shy Guy playmat. I don't think I've showed it on YouTube. This is a Shy Guy, courtesy of Spoonfish Lee from DeviantArt. I saw this one day just Googling. Shy Guy is one of my favorite characters from the Mario Brothers series, and I just thought this was a really cool artwork. So we just slapped on a Gone Rogue. it's Shy Guy Gone Rogue. I mean, perfect flavor for the Rogue Deck Builder type channel. So big shout out to Spoonfish Lee. You can find his art over on DeviantArt if you just Google Spoonfish Lee. And he was kind enough to give us permission to use his artwork. So that is an option with the winner for this week's playmat. You can also purchase it for $25 plus shipping and handling. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. Go vote, go vote, go vote. Purchase a playmat, purchase a playmat, purchase a playmat. We do need to generate a bunch of revenue to take Rogue Deck Builder to the next level. One of the things we want to do is have everything in-house so you can actually submit decks and have like a forum and have Rogue Deck Builder be the community to come to actually brew decks. And anywho, this has been Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com. Thanks for watching.